Nobody talks about this one because it's the most personal rule in the entire list. It's not about your business strategy. It's not about your mindset. It's not about your work ethic. It's about the person sleeping next to you or sitting across from you at the dinner table or texting you, "Are you sure about this?" Here's what I know for certain after building a business, surviving 2 marriages, and coming out the other side with my company still standing. The wrong person in your corner will cost you more than any bad investment could. Maybe they won't take money out of your account at first. They'll take something worse. They'll take your belief in yourself slowly and quietly. And the most dangerous part, you won't even notice it until you have already shrunk. Welcome back to the blueprint on how to live your best life. This is rule number 4, and this is a personal one. Alex Hormozi's 4th rule for staying poor is pick a spouse who makes you feel guilty for working. Hormozi talks about this in business terms: the partner who resents your ambition, who makes you choose between your dreams and your relationships, who chips away at your drive until you shrink yourself to keep the peace. But I need to go deeper than that today, because what I've lived with is not just a partner who tried to make me feel guilty for working hard. I was with a partner who actively was working against me, who used my ambition against me, who sat at the proximity of everything I built and tried to take it. This episode is for everyone who has ever loved someone who secretly saw them as a threat. And it is for everyone who needs permission to stop making excuses for people who are quietly destroying them. My first husband told me he wanted to be a teacher his whole life. Then I got a job at this Fortune 500 company as an auditor, traveling every other week, making $25,000 more than he was. And suddenly he wanted to go back to school for accounting. I didn't think much of it at the time. I thought it was ambition. I thought I was inspiring him. I wasn't inspiring him. I was threatening him. Remember, when we got engaged, he told me that my money was my money and his money was his. He was shamelessly one of them 50-50 guys. Everything in the household was 50-50. When I started my wedding dress business, while we were still married, I needed some small things from him. Simple things. Go with me to the mechanic so that they don't take advantage of me. Help me carry my mini fridge upstairs to my studio. Help me set up my dress racks. Help me swap out the fan for a chandelier. I had to call a coworker for that. Small acts of partnership that any teammate would give without thinking. And he refused every single time. And it spilled into our home. I would bring gallons of water home, heavy ones, and he wouldn't help me carry them from the car. And that was my last straw. I had upgraded this man in every way I knew how. I had supported him. I had believed in him. I carried way more than my share. And he wouldn't even carry water from the car. I didn't understand it at the time, but now I do. Men who are secretly threatened by a woman's success will not help her rise. Not because they are lazy, but because every time she wins, something in them shrinks. It's the same for the guys too. And helping her would mean participating in their own diminishment. So they withdraw, they withhold, they anchor. He had a poor mindset, and I had mistaken it for humility. My parents also came from a third world country, and they built a life. I thought anyone could do it if they just believed in themselves enough. I was betting on potential instead of looking at reality. That was my first lesson. Potential means nothing without proof. My first marriage ended, and I prayed for better. I prayed for a real partner, someone aligned with my vision, my faith, my future, and someone showed up. And I want you to remember this, and I mean, really sit with it. The devil hears your prayers too. Not everything arrives in the form of an answer is sent from God. Some things arrive like a blessing, and they are just tests, or they're wolves. And you won't always know the difference until you're already inside the story. I want to give a disclaimer, because when I did say that prayer, it was in the wee hours of the morning when the spirit world is the most active. And I was under the influence of vodka, and I said that prayer out loud. I had ignorantly opened myself up to the devil to hear me too. My second husband came from one of the poorest countries in Europe. And once again, I saw potential. I saw someone I could build with. I thought he was like me. I thought he thought like me, but he didn't. What I didn't know, what I couldn't have known, was that he had a plan from the beginning. Allegedly, he came for the American dream by any means necessary, and I was the vehicle. Day to day looked like this. I was building, I was thinking, creating, and he spent the last 2 years telling me I wasn't doing anything, that I needed to make more money, that I wasn't even enough. He had tangled himself in the operations of my business. I had let him in because I thought he was my partner. And slowly, quietly, he began siphoning everything. My energy, my confidence, my revenue. But the moment I need you to hear, the moment I still have to breathe through, when I think about it, was the equity firm. Like 3 summers ago, an equity firm had called me. They were interested in purchasing my business. They thought I was doing $5 million a year. This was one of the biggest moments of my professional life, the kind that entrepreneurs dream about. My ex was running the operations of my business at the time. He had the meeting information, and I could see it on his face before that call ever happened. The jealousy, the fact that something I built was getting this kind of attention made him angry in a way he couldn't hide. When it was time for the meeting, I asked him for the link, and he slowly closed his laptop and said nothing. We were 10 minutes late to the most important meeting of my business life because my partner, the person who was supposed to have my best interests at heart, withheld the information deliberately. I almost lost my mind. I tried to fire him, but there was a tug of war because I hadn't been operating the business in a while. I didn't have the passwords and the logins. I was busy raising our baby, and that situation had put me in a depression. I couldn't get up even to take my daughter to school in the mornings. I had let him take over so much that I had stopped recognizing myself. I thought he was just immature. I thought he was insecure. I kept making excuses. What he actually was someone who saw me as a threat, who had goals of his own that required keeping me small. Within a month of us separating, after he became physically violent with me, he had hired the same person who built my website to build his. He had launched his own vacation rental cleaning business, built entirely from the knowledge I had shared with him because I thought he was my partner. I thought he was my real partner. He had been studying me, not loving me, studying me. And here is what that kind of relationship does to a person. It doesn't just cost you money, it costs you yourself. I stopped believing in my own ideas. I stopped trusting in my own judgment. I got quieter, I got smaller, I second-guessed everything. A man who was secretly using me, allegedly, had convinced me that I was not doing enough. I believed him. That is what sustained gaslighting does. It turns your own mind against you. Even now, restarting this channel, the confidence it requires to show up and speak. Some of that hesitation has roots in what those relationships planted in me. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the real cost. It's not just financial. It's not just professional. It is who you become when you spend years next to someone who was quietly against you. Looking back at both relationships, here's what I know now and see clearly that I couldn't see then. They both told me I was too ambitious, and both times I explained it away. What I know now is that when a partner calls you too ambitious, it's not a conversation starter. It's a confession. They are telling you exactly who they are and exactly what they cannot handle. And the guilt was their weapon of choice. Guilt is the most efficient dream killer in a relationship because it doesn't need to argue with you. It just waits. You work late. They go quiet. You feel guilty. You work less. The business suffers. They feel more secure. The cycle repeats, and that cycle has a name. It's called being managed down. And it is a silent killer of more ambitions than failure ever was. Guilt is not love. Guilt is the rent you pay for outgrowing someone who hasn't decided to grow yet. I was betting on potential instead of reading reality. I come from immigrant parents who built a life from nothing. I believe that where someone comes from doesn't determine where you're going. That is true, but only if you are actively going somewhere. Potential without movement is just a story you tell yourself about someone. The signs are always there. I just love them louder than I listened. Someone asked Bob Proctor, if you are evolving and the person you are with is not evolving with you, what do you do? And he said, you keep focusing on yourself and you keep evolving. Eventually that person will keep up or they'll fall off. A few months before my second marriage ended, I started meditating. I put my faith in God and in the path I knew was mine. I knew that if this person was not meant to be in my life, the universe would remove him. And it did. And not even knowing all the other stuff that was going on. This rule number 4, lives in every area of your life, not just a romantic partnership. In your finances, a poor-minded partner will make every financial decision harder. They will resist your investments, resent your income, spend what you save, and blame you for the consequences of their choices. You cannot build wealth next to someone who is at war with wealth. In your health, I'm talking mental, physical, emotional. A partner who doesn't value their own health will make yours harder to maintain. The habits of the person you sleep next to become your environment. Your environment becomes your default. Choose accordingly. In your purpose, the person closest to you either believes in what you're building or they don't. And if they don't, if they are quietly threatened by your growth, they will find 100 subtle ways to slow you down. A missed errand, a withheld link, a tantrum, death by 1,000 betrayals. And here's what to look for instead. You are not looking for a cheerleader. You are looking for a co-visionary, someone who has their own drive, who is not depending on you to carry the vision for the both of you. Someone who handles uncertainty without making it your emotional responsibility. Someone who challenges you to go bigger, not to play it safe. You don't need someone perfect. You need someone aligned. Here's the question I want you to sit with honestly. Does the person next to you celebrate your wins genuinely, without jealousy, without making it about themselves? Do they push you forward? Do they show up for your vision even when it's inconvenient? Or do you feel in the quiet moments like you are dragging them along with you? Because here is what I know now. Being alone, truly alone, at peace with myself and my path, is indefinitely better than being with someone who is secretly rooting against me. Alone, I can fly. Next to the wrong person, I was drowning and I knew it. One thing, write down the answer to this question honestly, and you don't have to share with anyone. Does the most important person in your life right now make you feel more capable or less capable? Not on just the good days, on the ordinary days, on the days when you build something and you need their support, on the days that you have a small win, on the days that you are afraid. Are you feeling more capable or less? If the answer is less, you don't have to make your decision today, but you do have to stop pretending you don't already know the answer. Your life is too important to be lived in the shadow of someone who cannot stand your light. Both marriages taught me the same lesson in different directions. You cannot build a life that is bigger than the relationship you are building inside of. I lost time, I lost money, I was gaslit, I was physically harmed. I was sabotaged on the most important call of my business life by the person who was supposed to be my partner. I had to rebuild the business, rebuild my confidence, and rebuild a sense of what I actually deserved. And I'm telling you this not for sympathy, because I don't need it. I am telling you this because somewhere on the other side of this screen, someone is staying small because leaving feels disloyal. Someone is shrinking their vision to fit inside a relationship that was never built to hold it. I want you to hear this clearly. Your dream is not too much. You are not too ambitious. You are not asking for too much by wanting a partner who wants what you want. The right person won't make you feel guilty for building. They'll hand you the blueprint and ask you how they can help. No anchor is strong enough to hold down someone who was built to fly. Keep your faith, keep building, keep evolving, and choose very carefully who you let walk beside you. Now tell me one thing Nancy can understand. One thing Nancy can understand. What makes them talk about me? Ambition. I said, what makes them talk about me? Ambition. Some of them ask me where we get it from. Some of them ask me where we get it from. I told them, no, it's from creation. I know, no, it's from creation. If you found this video valuable, please make sure to like it. It all helps with the algorithm. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. This is the blueprint on how to live your best life. 28 rules, one life at a time.